Looks good. The hall looks full. It's nice, even at this stage, we are almost full at the back as well. So what we'll do, I think the last question in the last discussion along with Prashant was related to our topic on packaging. That's what we are going to build on. Packaging, we all know is very, very important. Whether it's product packaging, whether it's people packaging, even services packaging is important as well. And we have put together a list of 6 very, known people from different fields, with us to talk about that. So we have 45 odd minutes. What I will do is we'll have a quick round of introduction, 1 minute for each. People can introduce themselves, their company as well, about their business. Then I will ask them few questions. We'll spend some time on that specific questions, and we'll keep last 10 minutes for Q&A. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. So I'll start myself. My name is Ashish Dhir. I lead the consumer and retail vertical for One Lattice. It's a research and a consulting firm. We are the fastest growing and one of the biggest research firm of Indian origin now, 150 plus people with 4 offices. So that's what we do.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pushkar Jain. I'm CEO of Sawai Fragrances and founder of Ajai Perfumes. We have been manufacturing fragrances for the past 70 years, doing a B2B side of the business, exporting to brands globally and in India, and just started with the D2C vertical a year back. Thank you so much, and thank you for having us.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gaurav Manchanda, and I'm the founder and MD of a retail grocery chain called The Organic World. We're based in Bangalore, and we are a chain of about 17 stores on the way to grow to 100 stores over the next 12 to 18 months. The Organic World is an organic grocery chain that is a multi-brand chain that we stock many of the products that you've heard of at this summit, and we continue to build our base. I also wear the hat of a food packaging brand called Wellbe Foods. We are present across most of the big retailers across India. So I think I have the perspective of both the retailer and a package brand.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Deepanshu Manchanda. I am the founder and CEO of Zappfresh. We are India's leading D2C fresh meat brand, and we are operating in NCR and Bangalore as of now. Started in 2015, catering to households looking for better meat at home, and packaging for us is an extremely critical component, and that's one of the reasons we exist. So we'll talk more about it in the session. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Tarun Sharma. I'm the co-founder and CEO of a brand, mCaffeine. We have another brand called Hyphen. In a nutshell, we make skincare, body care, and hair care products using caffeine, which is incredibly good for your skin and hair both. We sell through all online platforms, our D2C website and app, and now we are present in about 10,000 stores, offline as well. So thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Akshay Verma, and I'm the co-founder of Beco. Beco is a consumer brand in the FMCG space. We are into home care products. So these are all natural home care products like bamboo-based tissues, natural laundry detergents, floor cleaners, dishwashing liquids. So anything that y'all use in your house in a day-to-day activity, day-to-day use, we make those. We are there across channels, across online channels, marketplaces, quick commerce, and in around 8,000 plus stores.
Hi everyone, my name is Ajai. I'm the co-founder of Sleepy Owl Coffee. We make FMCG coffee products. Unlike Tarun's products, you can actually consume our products and be caffeinated.
Thanks. So we have got full variety. You can see, from fragrance to fresh meat to actual coffee, and the products made out of coffee, as ingredient, and as home care as well. So thank you. So I'll start with you, Gaurav. Packaging, as an very, very important ingredient of building the brand. It helps you in many ways. So it could be helping you in differentiation, storytelling. How has been your journey, in terms of packaging? How have you leveraged packaging for storytelling or brand differentiation?
Sure, Ashish. Thanks for that question. So in short, packaging is absolutely critical, right? It becomes the first touch point for consumers to get a sense of, what does the brand stand for? What's the purpose? What's the brand narrative? What's the essence of the brand, right? And it is a first touch point, whether it's at a retail store or whatever the shopping point is for that brand. it becomes the first touch point, and there is data, and we see it live as well within our own stores and with our own brands, right? We see it live that, some of the quick decisions that consumers make to pick packages off the shelves. There is fair data to say, there's a research study done by Westpac, a large manufacturing company, when it comes to packaging, and they say that 66% of their consumers have picked off products off the shelf purely based on how it looks and how it stands out, right? So it's absolutely critical there. Now, the way we assess how packaging fits into our journey, it's based on 4 S's. Of course, there's safety, there's storytelling, there's sustainability, and also in terms of the smartness in the packaging. Now, safety is, in a sense, the most basic hygiene to make sure that the product stands out, the product stays safe, it stays fresh. Now, the storytelling is a critical element when it comes to connecting with the consumer and the purpose of the brand and what the consumer themselves connect with. So that becomes a key decision point for the consumer when it comes to aligning with the purpose of the brand and what purpose the consumer is aligned with, right? And then, of course, sustainability becomes a key element to say that the packaging is environmentally friendly, it's good for the environment, and consumers also align with that. And of course, the last element that we look at very closely is smart packaging. With regard to using technology, whether it's using QR codes on the technology on the packaging to present the journey of the product, presenting the traceability of the product, which becomes so important when it comes to building trust and transparency. These are all key elements that we look at within our own journey, and we've seen many successful products on our shelves that have done this. Some of the great stories that that stands out is certainly folks that. Like Coca-Cola, for example. Coca-Cola has been about social experiment, having names of consumers on the product. And more closely at home, it's also things like ID Foods. ID Foods has been very great with their innovation, especially when it comes to ready-to-eat products, with their fresh products. So we see this consistently in terms of what brands stand out, and packaging is a key element to that purchase point.
Great. Thanks, Gaurav. I think that 4S aspect is quite relevant. Ajay, coming to you, you deal in FMCG category. This is one category where packaging is very, very important, right? And so how has been your journey? How has packaging evolved for you? How did you initially design your packaging, and how it has evolved, and what has been the key learning?
So Ashish, I'd like to start with...
Ajay. It's okay. You can also answer.
See, we started as a digital brand. So for us, it was very, very important to create a product that was differentiated to a large subset of consumers that we were targeting. So first journey of a product starts with actually what you're creating. How is that different? In our case, coffee, and we were targeting cold brew and hot brew and flavorized coffee. That is what we were going after. So first and foremost, I think the first journey of a consumer product begins in your research lab or your kitchen. And then there are different attributes to a product that you have that stand out from the rest of the category. Now that's where packaging becomes very critical. In that, you have to identify who your TG is. So that defines the design language of your packaging. So in our case, our TG from day one was Gen Z millennial. So for us, it was very, very important to have packaging that was relatable to that TG. So that meant clutter-free design, clean label, communicate in very bold fashion. So our logo, our design language had to be very much in sync with that TG. And second is your product attributes, right? So digital and offline world, the big difference is that digital gives you a lot of space and lines of communication to communicate why a product is better than what they've been consuming. Retail is only the FOP, and you probably have like 5 seconds of the consumer. So it requires a lot of research and conversations with your target consumer, that what actually makes a difference to them, and taking that attribute and making that present on your packaging becomes very critical. and how it evolved. Obviously, we've learned our lessons the hard way, because what applies in the online world doesn't necessarily apply in the retail world. One small example is we used to have these tin packaged instant coffee cans that we used to sell the product online. It used to do really well, visually used to stand out. But the moment we put the product on the retail shelf, we had no off takes. The product was great inside. Consumers online loved it, but retail, no one was picking up. So then you go down, do a survey, understand that people didn't, because it was so different for the sake of being different from the category code, people didn't even realize what it was. So you have to follow certain basic rules of the category and then add your own, differentiation to it. And once we did that, the sales were back to what we were expecting.
Great. Thanks, Ajay. And Akshay, you wanted to add, how has your brand, and especially on that aspect, because your brand deals with a lot of, sustainable products and all, so how, because sustainability is a buzzword, we all talk about eco-friendly products and all. So how is that evolved for you and with, sustainability aspect specifically?
I think first, sorry Ajay for hijacking. Ashish, I'd like to start with an incident actually what happened in 2018. Aditya, my partner, that time we were just friends, Beco hadn't started. So I and Aditya used to go for a lot of beach cleanups in Bombay. These beaches, like we are in Bombay, so we're lucky to have these beaches. So in a beach cleanup in Chowpatty, we came across a bright orange wrapper. And it looked very new, but we hadn't seen it like before. And Aditya's dad was there with us, and he's like, "Beta, this chocolate actually belongs to like, this wrapper belongs to a chocolate which was discontinued in the 1990s, and it looked absolutely new." And that just got us thinking: the amount of waste that is generated by the products and the packaging is so tremendously high. It is going to come and haunt us and our future generations. Today, India produces around 26,000 metric tons of plastic every day, according to the Central Pollution Control Board. About 70-80% of that is not recycled. It ends up in the oceans, it ends up in the landfills. So, as a brand, I think we have to be very responsible in what materials we are using. So, when we started Beco, it was a conscious effort for us to select the right packaging material, which is not only like good for the environment, but also aspects like the product quality should not be, the integrity of product should not be compromised. And we've ensured we eliminate all sorts of raw materials that can be eliminated. Obviously, from product to product, that's going to be different. If you're into liquids, then you have to use plastic bottles. But there also you can use recycled PET bottles. PET as a material can be recycled n number of times. So just being more conscious in what materials you're using is very, very important.
Right. I think that takes me, I think this example when you said, to Deepanshu, you are in a category where, it's not an easy category in terms of packaging. We just talked about environment friendly and the impact and all. So must be creating a lot of challenges for you as well as opportunities. So in fresh meat category, how do you deal with packaging and, environmental sustainability aspect? And in general, you need to sell through as well, right? Make sales.
Yeah, so plastic is our like core, for us. And when we started, I think meat as a category has been synonymous to plastic bag. So we're the dirtiest of the category when it comes to packaging and packaging options. Good thing, was that with us we didn't really have any benchmark when we started. So we were fighting with local players using black polythene bags, etc. So of course we did flip the page and raise the standards to a next level from a decorated point of view or storytelling point of view. And we started in a like a very well designed plastic transparent plastic pouch with a certain tag, etc. That was our first cut, which was as good as it gets as a first cut. But over the years, in the next few years, we took storytelling as a very critical part of our packaging. And then we introduced a box which covers the plastic vacuum pack. instead of, because as rightly he said that for each channel packaging has to be separated. So we are considering online. So for us, we can operate on a certain thought process. However, if you're operating in a supermarket retail, then it's a different ball game. You have to appeal to a different customer thought process and behavior. So what we have tried very hard to is to get rid of plastic and vacuum, but it's just to no avail. We haven't really been able to find biodegradable options which can replace plastic. So as a sustainable thing, I would say that we are far behind. But as ethos for us, from a branding point of view, from customer value, all of that, we look at demonstrating our story on the packaging, and also we haven't changed our packaging for the last almost 6-7 years. So we've been very stable. We believe in creating a legacy brand footprint where all the Parle-Gs of the world are looking the same. So we follow that traditional thought process of identifying with age-old brands and keeping the branding quotient very active through communication on the packaging, etc., which aligns with the new age customer, and also is showcasing more trust and stability in the product, is basically what are fundamentals which we generally go by. We're still finding options on plastic.
Great. So I think, different brands have different brand philosophies, different categories have different demands, on the products and all. Tarun, coming to you, I mean, we were just discussing before our discussion here. In your case, aesthetics, you leverage, packaging for creating aesthetics, and some different examples. Can you share with everybody, how has the journey been for your brand, and as you mentioned, you use coffee as a ingredient. So how do you look at packaging, and how do you leverage packaging for brand differentiation and aesthetics and all?
So I think majority part is, it's like an engineering viva jahan par I have the same answer as my fellow panelists, but I think how we see it is absolutely on the retail environment. So if you're doing something for digital, in digital, light comes from behind, right? So anything which you put on the screen looks really beautiful. But on physical retail, seldomly you will see light coming from behind. Bulb upar hota hai. Suddenly it starts changing the entire aesthetics part of it, right? So retail and digital needs to be thought differently. So now, assuming I'm a digital only brand or a retail only brand, we created a certain framework in which we worked for packaging, because sometimes it's get to very subjective part of innovation. So we said, how do we objectify? So we said, effectively, if my retail environment is constant, I will have packagings into 3 portions. One is disruptor, one is challenger, and one would be commoners. Why commoners? Because you really don't want to kind of do everything around packaging innovation, because the core business is to make a great face wash and a great face cream, right? Now, packaging helps. So you divide it into disruptor, challenger, and commoner. But how do we think around all these 3 things? We said we will have a 4E philosophy in which we'll work on the packaging. So first will be efficacy. Now you can disrupt the entire market by having the most innovative packaging, but if it doesn't work in your shower, that's the last thing you would want, where a shower is on and you are half thanda and your packaging is, and your shower gel is not working, right? So efficacy needs to be like the prime most importance for us. When we say efficacy, it also means shelf pe rukna chahiye, tootna nahi chahiye, the whole usability aspect of it. But when we said, if we are doing only efficacy, whether we would be able to push the bar or differentiate ourselves or create that first moment of truth in retail, we said it should have ethos as well, because sustainability is a big theme. We are the most clean label brand out there. Consumers want to kind of opt in. It is not just a good to have factor, it is one of the prime most factors for consumers to choose a brand. We said ethos. Now, you should not use plastic. You should use plastic as minimal as possible. If you're using, you need to kind of go back and recycle more. You need to have a very high degree of ethos when you are creating. And ethos is all, either environmental or social. I mean, you should not generalize a female product being of one color or a male product of being color. Social ho sakta hai, environmental ho sakta hai, but effectively you need to have a high degree of etho while you're designing the packaging. I said, if efficacy is there, if etho is there, what is that we are trying to do with the packaging? It is just becomes a commodity, good commodity. I said, effectively, packaging needs to tell the story. Packaging needs to generate an emotion in the consumer, because that's the first moment of truth, whether digital or retail consumer is going through your brand. And then they will test out your brand. And unlike food, our kind of products will take 30 days to tell you whether they are great or not, right? So we said it has to have a certain emotion which it generates. And at the end of the day, the overall experience of it, can it be a notch better than what they are having across their next Kirana store or next modern trade store or next online marketplace? So this is how we kind of divided our packaging framework. While in disruptors, we have 3 patents. So we said if we are going to use this framework and kind of disrupt the packaging, we will disrupt and kind of take a patent around it and use it as a value add, if not for this market, but for some other market. So we had this, and I'm sure you would have all went to this Starbucks, where there is a classical cappuccino cup, which is narrow on the bottom, broad on the top, and you sip it out. We made a coffee cup-based packaging, similar looking, but we infused coffee in the plastic because it's a PET bottle. It's a PET substrate product. So we infused coffee and we decreased the biodegradability of the same plastic by 60% and got a patent out of it, right? So we said this is which enhances the experience, generates an emotion, but has a high degree of etho, but at the same time we are disrupting the way product should be consumed. Now, imagine your shower gel being a coffee cup while you're just bathing into it. Rich on experience, right? Then we said soaps. We're high on body care, so body care is the largest category for us. So you have your classical batti soap, right? We said coffee bean soap banate hain. But while we were making coffee bean soap, we made it in a way where it absorbs 50 or 20% less water, which essentially means it's good for environment, effectively very differentiated. And then we went to the challenger part, wherein we changed a lot of bit of existing packaging to make sure that we are pushing the envelope. And then there you have usual tubes and bottles to work on it. So this is how we think on packaging.
Thanks, Tarun. I think very well explained the framework and how it is work, with examples. Pushkar, coming on to you, I think, you have been sitting and you are in a category where packaging, it's a premium product, fragrances. You have been in the business for 70 years, in this category. So how do you see, in your brand, what kind of challenges you have faced? How do you plan packaging? And also, what kind of feedback, we all discuss, it's actually the consumers who need to see. It's the first touch point we have heard. 66% of the consumers, sometimes differentiate or buy a product because of packaging. How do you, take that consumer feedback and how do you incorporate that in your packaging while designing?
Thanks, Ashish. I have prepared this line, so I'll just start with that. I'm just going to give a small DC comic reference. I think everyone can relate to that. So I'll always say your brand and your packaging is like a Batman-Robin relationship. So a Batman needs a Robin and a Robin needs a Batman, vice versa. It's of course a big storytelling aspect. So how at Ajai, since conceptualization, we've been doing a research is we have been doing a lot of pop-ups lately, on-ground pop-ups for our brand, where we are discussing with the consumer of what they feel of how the product packaging is looking like, how small things like how the nozzle, how the actuator is spraying, the fragrance, how is the mist coming out, how is your experience about it. So that has been a big data collection point for us, the point of sale and these pop-ups. And also emailers and social media has been a big data feedback for us, where people are telling us about the packaging and especially the cool quotient around it. Perfume being a very aspirational category, having a cool quotient attached to the packaging is very, very important for us. So people want to flaunt that, at times. I just heard back from one of my cousins. He works at a law firm. One of the lawyers there got the Ajai fragrance suddenly and put it on his table. So being asked, why are you carrying perfumes? Usually guys carry deodorants in their backpacks. So the feedback that we got was the spherical shape is very cool in a perfume category, which they had not seen. So having that innovation part in the packaging was very important for us. So that is one place where we really stressed upon, and until now getting all positive feedbacks for that. In India, a big focus for the perfume category would be what we're trying to do with Eze is uh, getting affordable luxury in our brand, the positioning of our brand, which is because fragrances have been such a expensive category in the large format stores for quite some time now. Although there are a lot of mass market brands that do. So the target in SA being you provide products that are really unique and different from the current market, and giving you international quality products there. That has been a challenge for us. And yeah, so these are the ways we are getting the feedbacks from different ways.
Okay. Typically, what percentage of your cost is packaging for the just for because you're in a category where I think packaging does play very
I
very
would
important
say
role.
about 40 to 50% cost is packaging.
Okay. Now this would be very different from some of the other categories, right? May not be in the double digits in most of the cases, I guess. So see, this is what I think I mean, it looks very very simple, very straightforward, but we heard from all these people in different categories, different brands, that packaging does play very very important role. We have 14, 15 odd minutes. I would straight away jump into Q&A. If anybody has any questions, if you have enough, we'll continue. Otherwise, I have some questions for them as well. But I would like to engage you guys, and especially people from the back. If you have any questions, you'll get preference. That lady. Can we have somebody with the mic?
Hello, I'm Nidhi, and my question is to Mr. Pushkar right here. I just wanted to understand, I know fragrance is something that is very subjective to everyone's taste, but like for me, I would whenever I carry my purse or something, I would want my perfume bottle to look very nice. And how do you do the storytelling through your perfume packaging, or how do you what was the thought behind it when you package your products? This question can be for anyone, but because being a lady, I carry my perfume everywhere, so it should be compact, it should be very good looking as well. So I just wanted to understand your thought behind it when you came up with Eze perfumes.
That's a great question. Uh, the focus behind the packaging of Eze was, of course, to have compact sizes. Pocket perfumes have been trending lately, and a lot of people, the trend before has been deodorants which you carry in your backpack. But women, of course, especially, which out of research has come out, they love to carry fragrances in their purses. So the product being compact was, of course, a very big criteria, and that gave us a direction of having different size SKUs for the same fragrances. Of course, that was very much important. And you know, because when you're holding something in your purse and when you take it out of your purse, it has to look nice. So that is very important, being an aspirational category. So the thought behind this was the Gen Z focused audience that we had, where we did not want to go with a generic square shaped bottle or a rectangular shaped bottle. So keeping all those things in mind, to have the inclusivity and all the open-mindedness of the Gen Z audience, we went with the spherical shape of the perfume bottle, which was very unique and not. I don't think actually no brands in India did it. So keeping that focus of no boundaries in mind and inclusivity in mind, we went with the spherical bottle, and that resonates with our brand Eze. One more thing I'd like to add is when companies, which I felt, which gave me a very big boost for my brand was, uh, buying media and buying visibility is expensive for bootstrap brands. So use your packaging in a way that really gives you a lot of visibility. So one thing we did with Eze and the mono carton especially, we printed Eze boldly in a seamless way which went around the mono carton. So when you ever see Eze on a brand shelf and line together the mono cartons, you will just see a seamless flow of Eze. That gave us free visibility, on retail shelves. without putting on banners or posters anywhere. So that was how we utilize our packaging creatively to, also solve the visibility problem.
Great. I think, that's a very good example. Any other question? We have couple, yeah.
Just one question. Can you please tell your top three favorite? I mean, anybody can take that. Your top three favorite packaging. I mean, brands from the packaging point of view, and apart from your brand, it has to be something else.
I think he mentioned Coca-Cola one. I mean, but anybody else can take as well. I mean, there are many examples.
I can highlight a recent repackaging that was done by Domino's. That they just repackage at least the front of the pack to illustrate what they call the slice of life, and the slice is basically illustrations of where pizza has been part of a magical moment. For example, at a office brainstorming session, or watching a cricket match with your parents, or your like an awkward first date where pizza is a key part of that. So they've very well illustrated this as part of their front of packaging, and I think that's it really stands out to connect with the emotion and the magic of every session of eating a pizza. So Domino's has done a great deal, and I think I highlighted also ID Foods. I mean, they've brought an innovation into their packaging, which has been very I think interesting, and consumers have truly resonated with that. So these are the two that come to mind apart from the others.
I think it might be super subjective, but we love what Paperboat has done here in packaging. Fundamentally changed the category game. Rest, I think.
I was about to say that. I think Paperboat created a brand. Main differentiation factor was packaging only. That's how they started, right? I can also quote one example. I went to Japan 6-7 years back, and I brought back 2 empty bottles of Coca-Cola. They were completely red. I just liked it. And they're still kept, in my shelf to display. I liked it so much. That the bottle looks so very different. So it varies. Any other example? I think there should be many.
So many, every category has one, right? Absolute vodka, the silhouette, anywhere you'll know it's the brand. In food, Epigamia yogurt, they had a very unique, differentiated packaging that shouts protein as a ingredient that they're trying to get the consumers to pick up on. mCaffeine, of course, the scrubs. In your bathroom, you want to eat it, get a little caffeine kick also. So yeah.
So many, I think I recently read, I think Sprite is coming up with the packaging, where there's nothing written on the bottle. I mean, the bottle itself is the packaging or the brand. So
But
there are
that's
various
more
ways.
for sustainability because of the
Yes.
single-use plastic that they're
Yes.
trying to remove.
I don't remember the brand, but I've been seeing this Instagram video where they are giving out free bottles of water, where they are promoting the print is saying about different brands. They are giving free bottles of water on the streets, and these brands who are sponsoring these bottles have their branding on the packaging. So that was a very cool idea, which I thought.
And I think we all see Shark Tank. I mean, most of the categories when the pictures come, first thing which the sharks notice is the packaging actually, and they react to it, whether they like it or not. Typically, at least in the consumer products. So it is for sure important. There was another hand, yeah, please.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Oh, sorry. Hi, my name is Kshitish Patil. Good afternoon, everyone. So this question is for everyone. As a part of sustainability, refill stations are considered to be one of the boons that could help in sustainability. Like I've known for Christian Dior to do it in some international stores where you could bring in your bottle, get a refill, and it would essentially give around 40% of discount because that's what the packaging is for. So is it really relevant to any or all of you guys? Do you feel it's doable, or is there a scale restriction or a category restriction that you feel is in play over here?
Like,
Anybody, yeah? Akshay, yeah. Okay.
So I think this is also category specific to a certain extent, because in our case, for example, we are in food. So anything you do in food, taking packaging, dirty, and it's just very difficult to take. But in the case of apparels, or let's say something else non-food, it's very much possible, and we've seen many brands monetize and do it. So I would say that it's a very good initiative from a ethos point of view, and if the category can pull off, they should definitely look at building on it.
Ashish, if I could add on that, it's, as you mentioned, it's not only category specific, but I also think it's consumer specific. And it depends which consumer you're actually creating a brand and a packaging for. For example, from a retail perspective at the organic world, I mean, we have very conscious consumers, right? It's very self-selected, biased consumers that come to our store. So they're very vocal with regard to plastic use and packaging. They do not like it when we have, packaging on our shelves that are, wrapped in extra plastic. While we can nudge certain brands to reduce plastic or make it more sustainable, it is a transition phase. So in the meanwhile, what we do is we have stations within our stores for people to come and drop off their plastic packaging for no particular, benefit to them other than the fact that they are recycling through our store. So we have stations within our store. The other evolution to that is working with brands to provide zero waste packaging. Basically, we just have stations where you kind of pull a handle and it fills your bag that you bring from home. It could be for food, it could be for grains and staples, also for home care products like soaps and dishwashers, etc. Right? So there are different ways to connect with the consumer and also tackle packaging specifically.
Akshay, you wanted to add?
So in the past, we've actually tied up with a company called Refillables. We are into home care products, so actually it works very well for us. I think the problem that is there is there's a lack of infrastructure. There need to be a few players to get this initiative going. Secondly, the consumers are still not open to this mindset of going down. A truck is coming and filling their bottles with either laundry detergent or flow cleaner or any other product in any category. So that awareness has to be developed among the consumers, which is, I think, India is still very, very early for that.
Any other questions?
Okay. I'd just like to add to that point. Definitely, it's a very interesting aspect of the business that in perfume especially has been being explored for a brand like Dior. You said, I've also seen brands like YSL do that. Although it's a big operational hassle, but I would still say if it's a challenge, and if the challenge is overcome, it's a big business opportunity also. This is still being explored, I would say, though.
Thank you. So we are just about, on our time. What I would want to do is, one quick round, 1 minute, any advice you would want to give to the audience in terms of packaging through your learnings, what to do, what not to do, just quick ones from everybody. Same question. Any advice or any key learning? I think some of you have shared, but anything.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, brand positioning and brand, I'd say narrative on the packaging, it shouldn't be while it is an evolution, it shouldn't be, down the list of things. I think it's a very critical element in how the package and the product is positioned on the shelves. It is what catches a consumer's eye. I mean, we've seen that it certainly drives decisions. So please keep brand and the story a very key and right at the start of building out your product on the shelves.
Thanks. We have heard the two frameworks, 4S and 4E framework. I think two of you have already given, but anything else?
I think after the core product, take packaging as the most critical thing in your product. So for we've taken packaging cost under branding, not even like as a unit economics cost, because we think that it's part of our brand building exercise. So even if it is an extra cost, and it eats up to your margin, don't really think about it. It's very, very important, and factor in as a marketing cost and a branding cost instead of consumable, as a unit price.
Yeah, good point, Deepanshu. Anything you guys want to add?
If you're a digital brand, a lot of retail constraint come when we think about packaging, and so hence you need to get it right. नहीं करोगे तो माल वापस आता है, फिर वो refill करना है. It becomes a super hassle. But if you're a digital brand, What we do is every month we run a project on design. We launch some of the new designs, which are not, I mean, pack, 1000 label, 2000 label. We track CTRs. So what we are talking about shelf pay, if the product is super differentiated on packaging, it kind of comes up at 66% or 30%, right? What we have seen is that if you really, really work hard on that at least from our perspective, from our architecture, we have seen our CTRs going up by 3 to 4x, which essentially means 4 times more people are interested at the same cost which I'm spending. So I think that iterativeness, being a digital brand, helps you do far better job in packaging than any other thing, because you can't iterate more on product by that standards.
Sure. So I think we have already heard, the advantages of investing in packaging. I would like to add, there's a cost of not investing in packaging as well. It's a sure shot recipe for downfall of your brand if you don't invest in packaging, because your customer or your consumer is going to experience the product, is going to, hold the product or, touch and feel it. So if you don't do that, and your competition is doing, most likely they will, it will lead to some very, very serious consequences for the brand. So on that note, I think, what time's up. So I'd like to finish. Thank you everyone for patient listening, and, thank you for the audience for asking questions as well. And definitely a big round of applause for my fellow panelists. Thank you.